Vandenberg is a significant figure in contemporary art in Belgium, and he rose to international prominence in the 1980s with works that combined personal narratives with literary, art historical, and philosophical references. Central to the continual experimentation and stylistic shifts that characterize his diverse body of work is his self-described kamikaze attitude, his firm belief in destruction as the prerequisite for creation.
Anthony, he made a selection of the last works of my father's career, so from 2006 to 2009, and he focused on the works with words. And I think Anthony has a very specific way of looking at works, and we really wanted to work with him because he has a more conceptual way of working. It's very good what he did because he took one motif, like the word, and he analyzed it. What does this word means in his work? And he came to the same conclusion as I already gave, like for him the motif of a word or a figurative motif or a geometric motif, it's not so important. It's just tools to tell the story. And what's very interesting is that that's something typical in the work of my father.
The ground floor is mostly taken over by one of Vandenberg's books of drawings, of which there are hundreds. And I was struck by the immense quantity and kind of intensity of the drawing and of the page after page of the motifs repeating again and again, slightly changing, evolving, progressing in some way. And I wanted to fill the entire room with a single one of these books to show not only the scale and scope of his practice as a draftsman and in his work in drawing, but also to point to this notion of attempts and reattempts and reattempts.
For him, the sketchbooks, it was a way of surviving. He was always drawing, always. I remember when I was a child, he was always drawing. And for him, it was a way of also controlling life, controlling the chaos around you. If you can put it in a drawing, if you can put a name on it, sometimes you can also control things. You can also feel his practice as an artist in it, his philosophy of like, you have to move on, you have to stay mobile. So there you see it in the drawings, you can really see his mobility, because in a painting, it's one painting with one fixed motif, but in the drawing book you really can see how this motif always changes and he opens all the time the borders, all the time.
One of the things that struck me the most was this tension or struggle between language and abstraction, between words and silence, or blankness, or wordlessness. And I saw this constant back and forth between this attempt of using language as a way to express oneself, and then a rejection of language as a way to express oneself. And this toggling between the two, as if it was impossible on one hand to make a decision, or as if there was ultimately no difference between the two, that both of them were kind of equally unable to fully grasp and fully speak to what an artist wanted to say. And so this first thought is why I decided to open the exhibition with these two drawings, which translate roughly as saying, a man can say nothing, he can only paint, which introduces the show via a paradox. Someone is telling us that he cannot tell us anything.
What he's doing in his drawings, you see it, it's all one drawing next to another. It's just all distinct. With the paintings, he's doing it one layer each on layer. So these paintings, he works like sometimes 10, 15 years on one painting. So you can see it. And actually the painting starts because my father, he painted a lot on materials that he found in the street. And so the painting starts when he found the canvas. But the painting really started when he chose the work. If you see the black paintings, if you really go very close to it, you will see so many colors under it. And it's also what it's important because it's a concept. It's also, he says, every day we try to start over again, but actually it's just an illusion. We just put a layer over us, over each other.
And on the top floor, on one side, we have a kind of wall-to-wall hanging of these larger, unframed, scrawled text drawings that are also abstract in a sense, in the sense that it could, in a way, say almost anything. It really is about this incessant repetition, an incessant attempt and reattempt of saying something.
He repeats all the time the same sentence. But it's the same thing as with this helicopter I'm saying. He's repeating this helicopter all the time, and there also he repeats the sentence all the time, and it's like a kind of mantra. It becomes like a kind of mantra. So the words are not important anymore also. It becomes on a very abstract level.
I hope this selection is able to paint a picture of a very specific part of his career. The entire exhibition is limited to just the last few years of his life. And so I hope that this selection gives a sense of the many contradictions and intensities and paradoxes and struggles that characterize Vandenberg's work throughout his career, but especially during his last few years.